I think it's time to start, isn't it? 36.
Yes, ma'am. Whenever you want.
Okay. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I hope you all had a great weekend. Good morning, Patricia. So in today's agenda is the syllable structure and lexical stress. Once again, just for you to get more used to these concepts and to practice them. But first, we are going to play a game. Here on the screen, you have the phonetic transcription of a movie. In this case, it's going to be or movie or a series. So I need some help in order to discover or to read the word that it's written there. Can you help me, please? It's not that difficult. Patricio or Sebastián or Claudia?
Avengers Endgame.
Let's see. You are correct, sir. It was Avengers Endgame. The next one is this one. Patricio? You raise your hand?
Oh, that's yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very clear.
American Horror Story, brother.
Let's see.
The first season, I think.
Yes, it is the first season of American Horror Story that it's called Murder House. So this is the next one. Tick tock, tick tock.
The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
You are right, Sebastian. It was indeed The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And now this one that it's a little bit long.
The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Exactly. It was The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Now this one. I think we all have seen this movie at any points of our lives.
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
That's correct. It was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And now this is the last one.
Oh, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Sorry, Factory.
Yes, you are correct. It was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So now we have the word chocolate. How many syllables does this word have?
Two.
Exactly, it has two syllables. It's divided into choc and let. So in terms of its structure, do you remember something about the structure of a syllable? What are the components of these syllables? Do they have consonant sounds, vowel sounds? I just give you a hint. Do they start with consonants or with vowel sounds? Patricia?
I mean, a syllable always needs to always have a vowel sound.
Vowel sound.
Also
So we
has
have,
a nucleus. It's called nucleus. Sorry.
yes, perfect. It has a vowel sound at the middle, and here in this case, it also have an onset, and both of them also have codas, right? So we can say that both of their syllables are closed and both of the syllables are light. I am not going to stop in this part because that's something we are going to see today again. And it's going to help you to remember what those concepts refer to. So the second word is secrets from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. How many syllables does this word have?
2.
2. That's correct. So this one, how its structure? If the other ones were C, B, C, how is the structure in these ones?
In C, I think it's an open.
It's an open.
It's consonant vowel.
It's a consonant.
And it's heavy.
It's a heavy one. You are correct. In this case, the first one was a CV, and the second syllable was CV, CC, V, CC. And the first one is an open and heavy, and the second one is a closed and heavy syllable. So just for you to remember, this is a more, well, it's the same diagram we have been seeing all this long. At the top, we have the syllable that sometimes it's represented by the, or it can be represented by the Greek letter sigma that looks like this. And on the one side, it has an onset that it's always going to be a consonant sound, that it's going to have all the elements that may be present before the nucleus. And on the other side, we have the rhyme, that it's branched into two different elements, the nucleus and the coda. The nucleus has, as its name says, that it can be the nucleus or the peak. It has the vowel sound, that it's the most prominent sound in the syllable and the most important one. And the coda has all the elements that come after the nucleus. In all languages, the coda it's always present, but in the case of English, sometimes we may have an onset or a coda present. The onset and the coda, it's optional in English. All this structure that you are seeing here is called a tree diagram. And for instance, I think we have we have an example. In the word cut, we have the onset, that is the K. I mean, it's the K sound. Then we have the nucleus, that it's a vowel, that is the K, and finally we have the coda, which is the T. So in this case, the word cut is a C, B, C syllable. If you have any questions, just interact me at any moment. It's okay. So now we have this question that it says open or closed, and I'm going to need help from the audience to read the paragraph that is present there.
I can help you.
Go ahead, please, Cristobal.
Okay, open or closed. Syllables ending in a vowel, as in C or I, are called open syllables, whereas those ending in a consonant, for example, cat, eat, are traditionally known as closed syllable.
Perfect, thank you very much. So according to what Cristobal just read, whenever we have a word that doesn't have a coda, it's called an open syllable. And whenever we have a word that does have coda, it's known as a closed syllable. In this case, we have the word me that ends in a vowel sound because it's a CV syllable. Therefore, it's an open one. And in the case of meat, that only differs by the last letter, that in this case is a T, is a closed one because it's a CBC syllable. So remember, if it has a coda, it's a closed one. If it doesn't have a coda, it's an open syllable. Now, is it light or is it heavy? And I am going to read this one because there is no much text. So in the first part says that in order to be a light syllable, the syllable needs to have a short vowel as its nucleus. It has to have no coda and a non-branching rhyme. So for instance, in the one that was from the example that we had before, we had a C from the Chamber of Secrets. That was like this, if I'm not wrong. And even though in this case we have no coda, it wasn't a light syllable because this one is a long vowel sound. So it was a heavy one because heavy syllables can have a syllable with a long vowel or a branching nucleus or a branching rhyme. Is this clear? Sometimes one element may be present, like in this case, that it doesn't have a coda, so you may think, oh, it doesn't have a coda, therefore it's a light syllable, but it has a long vowel, so it's a heavy one. Is this clear?
Yeah.
Yes, miss.
Yes, great. If you have any questions, just ask them, because now we're going to have an activity and to just practice this a little bit more. I am going to do the first example. I am going to take the number one as an example, and I'm going to do this with you, and you have to complete the other ones. But in this table, you have to complete with the elements that are present there. For instance, in number one, that's the phonetic transcription, and then in syllable structure, we have that it only has a vowel sound. Therefore, I have to write only a B here, because in the structure of this syllable, it's only present a vowel sound. And then if it's open or closed, I am going to see again if it's a coda present or not. In this case, there is not a coda present, so it's an open syllable. And then in the last square, if it's light or heavy, in this case, it's a diphthong, so it's a long vowel sound. Therefore, it's heavy. It doesn't have a coda, but because it's a long sound, it's heavy. Do you all understand what you have to do? Cristóbal, Claudia, Patricia, and Sebastián? Patricia, you were...
So
Yes?
all the diphthongs has to be taken as a heavy?
Long, yes, because they are long sounds.
Okay.
Yeah. So off you go. You are going to have a couple of minutes to complete this table. And I'm going to ask you for your answers later. If you finish, please raise your hand here on Teams so I can see that you are ready. Please don't raise your hand in wherever place you are because I'm not going to be able to see it. Thank you in advance. I think the only one who hasn't raised his hand is Sebastian. But we are going to start with the first numbers. So Sebastian, if you want to join us at the end, it's okay. So number 2, Cristobal, can you help me with number 2, please?
Okay, so the syllable structure is BCC.
BCC. Okay.
It's closed.
Okay. Oops.
And it's heavy, I guess.
And it's heavy. It is heavy because it has first it has a long vowel sound, and it also has a branching coda because we have more than one element present in the coda. Thank you very much, Cristobal. Claudia, are you there, Claudia? Can you help me with this one? Great. Number 3, please.
Okay.
How is the structure?
Is CC.
CC.
B.
B. Perfect. Is it open or is it closed?
Is open.
Open. And is it light or is it heavy?
And it is light.
Light. Why do you think it's light?
I don't know.
You don't know? Can somebody first, do you agree with Claudia? What do you think about the last category of this one? Do you think it's light or do you think it's heavy?
It is heavy.
Why, Cristobal or Sebastian?
As I asked you before, you told me that diphthongs are considered like long vowel sounds.
Yes, therefore this one is heavy as well. So thank you very much, Claudia and Cristobal. Now it's time, it's the turn of Patricio. Patricio, can you help me with number 4, please?
Okay, the syllable structure will be CCBC.
CCB, oops. C, okay. Is it open or is it closed?
Closed.
Correct.
And it's heavy.
And it is heavy. You're right. Next one, thank you, Patricio. Next one, Sebastian.
Yes. The structure is CC,
CC,
B,
B,
CC.
CC. You are right, sir.
And it's a closed one.
Closed one. Indeed, because we have 2 consonants, so it's definitely closed. And is it light or heavy?
Heavy.
Heavy. Again, Cristobal. We are only a few, so it's your turn again.
Okay, CC, the structure.
CC.
B.
C.
Triple C.
And 3 C's. Is it open or is it closed?
More than closed.
You are right. And is it light or is it heavy?
Is it heavy?
It is heavy. Yes. Because it has all the elements in order to be heavy, right? Claudia, again. I'm sorry to bother you.
Okay.
Can you help me again, please?
It's CCC.
CCC.
B.
B.
CVC. Um,
C,
B, C.
because of this one?
Yeah, is a vowel. I don't know.
That's, that phoneme corresponds to these letters. The sound of strength. Here, all of these words have only one, are only monosyllables. All of them. They only have one vowel sound.
Okay, entonces sería C,
Yeah?
C final. Finally is C, C.
Yes. Thank you very much. And is it open or is it closed?
Is closed.
Yes, indeed. And finally, is it light or is it heavy?
Is it heavy?
Heavy. That's correct. So I think we all agree with this. I'm sorry because of my bad handwriting. I'm not that good using the tactile, I think it's called, of the computer. So that was the table, the complete table. So we all have the same. This looks a little bit more presentable. My handwriting was really ugly. So now we are going to talk about lexical stress once again. And I'm going to read the first point because it's very short. That says English is a lexical language, as we all know. So now, Patricio, can you help me with this paragraph, please?
Okay. Stress as a sound phenomenon can be studied from 2 points of view, production and perception. The production of stress syllables is said to imply a greater muscular energy than the production of unstressed syllables. From the perceptive point of view, stressed syllables are prominent. Prominence is the sum of different factors such as loudness, length, pitch, and quality.
Thank you very much. So it says that we we have two points of view when it comes to stress. We can say that we can study this phenomenon from the points of view. Thank you very much. Before explaining this, thank you very much, Patricia. This phenomenon can be explained from 2 points of view, production and perception. The first one, it has to do with the muscular energy we put into the production of these sounds, because stress syllables are going to be produced with more muscular energy than unstressed syllables. And from the point of view of perception, we have that stress syllables are more prominent. And we already discussed the elements of prominence that are loudness, length, pitch, and quality. And that's basically what this slide says. More prominent syllables are going to be more loud or are going to be louder, are going to be, in terms of length, longer than unstressed syllables. The pitch is going to be higher, and the quality, it's going to be more strong, or it's going to be stronger than weak or weaker. So thank you very much. Now we have this paragraph, and I'm going to ask Sebastian to read it, please.
Yes. There are three possibilities of stress in a word. A primary stress characterized
Okay.
by prominence and basically by a raised fall tone. A secondary stress weaker than the primary stress but stronger than that of the stress syllables, like in the case of photographic. and double stress or even stress that can be marked by a higher vertical stroke before each of the stress syllables.
Thank you very much. So this is something we all already know, that we have three types of stress. The first one, that it's the most prominent one, that's called primary stress. The secondary stress, that it's weaker than the primary stress, but it is stronger than unstressed syllables. And finally, there's a double stress or even stress that in some words, like 15, if I'm not mistaken, can have, well, some people say that has a primary stress and a secondary stress, but others says that it has an even stress in the first and second syllable, I think. So now we are going to do the final activity of this part, that is about finding the stress in these words. And I also want you to create a sentence using these words. You can use an online dictionary, because I don't know if I mentioned, but I want you to tell me where the stress is located in these words, the primary stress in this case. And also, if you want to share your screen and show us your sentences, because I want you to read them out loud, but if you want to show your sentences is also okay. So you have 10 minutes to do this. Do you have a question regarding what you have to do?
No, miss.
Great. So go ahead. Find where is the stress and create the sentences. You have 4 more minutes. If you finish, please raise your hand like you did in the previous activity, so I can know that you are ready, please. So time's up. Do you need 1 extra minute to finish? Because I think only Cristobal raised its hand. It's okay if you don't have all
Yes.
the.
1 more minute, please.
Great. And if there is no answer, I think we are going to check the exercise. So, ladies first. Claudia Morales. Did you find the stress in the word alligator? Are you there, Claudia? Can you speak, Claudia? Patricio?
Yes, the stress is at the beginning in the first syllable.
So in the first syllable here, right? And what's your sentence? Can you read your sentence or show us your sentence?
I can read it. It's
Okay.
There's an alligator in the house.
That it's very dangerous, you know. Alligators are kind of scary and very
Yeah.
dangerous. I'm pretty sure alligators aren't supposed to be inside the house. I also think it's not a good idea to have them as pets. So I don't see why there's an alligator inside the house.
Because it's imaginary.
Yeah, it's all in your imagination.
Yeah.
Luckily. Thank you very much, Patricio. Now, Sebastian, do you have a word, a sentence with the word, with the second word? And have you found the accent? I mean, not the accent, the stress.
Yes, it's in the second vowel.
In the second,
Yes, in E. After C.
here, you say?
Yes, either.
Let's see. Can you pronounce the word for me, please?
Exymmetry.
Symmetry. Again?
Exymmetry.
But you are placing the stress after the first
No,
syllable.
is in the after a there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Exymmetry.
So it is in the second syllable because you're pronouncing a symmetry, right?
Yeah, there.
Perfect. And what's your sentence?
It was I didn't know what is asymmetry, so I had to make the sentence with the definition of asymmetry.
Okay.
Here is my sentence. Asymmetry exists when the two halves of something don't match or are unequal.
Okay. So can you read that again, please? My internet connection was kind of.
Asymmetry exists when the two halves of something don't match or are unequal.
Okay. So something that it's not equal, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I didn't know the definition of asymmetry. I just had a general knowledge of the word. So thank you very much for that. Now, Cristobal, can you help me with the third word?
Kaleidoscope. The stress is in the second syllable. And my sentence is, the book presents a kaleidoscope of perspectives.
Can you read that again, please?
The book presents a kaleidoscope of perspectives.
Okay, perfect. So kaleidoscope, it's like full of colors, right? Like a mixture of colors. Claudia, can you speak now, Claudia? If you cannot, it's okay. Claudia. I don't think she can. So, Patricio, once again, can you help me with number 4, please?
The stress is placed at the beginning, like in alligator.
Correct. In the first syllable.
And right. And I have melancholy. Melancholy is a sad feeling, as an example.
Okay, so melancholy, it's a sad feeling. You're correct. There are some songs that make us feel this feeling, right?
Yes.
Yesterday, I remember we had the example that Ricardo Arjona had some melancholy songs, like with a feeling of melancholy. So, yes. Thank you very much, Patricio. Now, for the last one, Sebastián.
Yes, the
Can,
stress is placed in the third syllable.
can you tell me which syllable is that one, please?
Re, subterranean.
It's like here, because we don't have the transcription here. But now I think I can see this. So yes, it was in this one. And your sentence, please, sir.
Some people have discovered one body in the subterranean of their house.
Okay, but that wouldn't be something like more like with the words sub. How is it called when people have like displays in their houses? I don't think it's subterranean. I think it's subterranean, something like that. Well, it is correct anyways. Thank you very much. I had in that one as an example that there is a subterranean river under the house. I mean, and under the house, under the city. I was thinking subterranean.
It's like
Because-
the.
Yes, go ahead.
I forgot I had the word and then I forgot.
I also had like the word for a second in the tip of my tongue, and then I was like, but how is it pronounced?
No,
I'm sorry?
It's not basement. No.
Oh yes, it is basement, but I think it's also there's also a word that it's like subterranean or something like that. So in that case, it will have been more appropriate to use the word instead of subterranean, but it's also completely fine. I was checking my notes while you were doing this exercise, and for the question that if diphthongs are long vowel sounds, and I found out that the length that diphthongs have is the same as long vowels. And also there's more, I mean, the first sound of the diphthong, it's more short, and the second one, it's more long. And diphthongs are definitely longer than pure vowels, for instance. So that's why they are considered long vowel sounds. With this being said, I think it's time for a break. Mr. Bruno, what do you think?
You're in charge. It's totally up to you, but I think it's a well-deserved break, considering
Yes.
that they are a hard-working bunch of students, right?
Yes, definitely. So you all deserve a 10-minute break. So I will see you all after 10 minutes.
See you.
By the way, I think Usual was saying basement or cellar is that place that's below the house. Subterranean is more an adjective than a noun, so refers to anything that's under the earth or the surface. So, but not necessarily a place in the house, right? Like cellar and basement are specifically pointing to. They are a place under the house.
Great.
All
Thank you
right.
very much. So now it's time for the break.
Yep.
See you after 10 minutes.